this is Vicki Robinson, and today I wanted to show you how easy it is to personalize one of your pages with your own handwriting. You can see on this page here, I've used my Choices collection, and I've added some of my own handwriting right here to make this personal to me. I've chosen one of my own favorite sayings. I want to show you how you can do the same thing. What you're going to want to do is to get a piece of plain white copy paper and then write out something that's meaningful to you that you'd like to be on your page. Preferably you want to do that in a black pen on a white piece of paper if you possibly can, to get the strongest contrast that you can. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see what this looks like. Once you've got your words written out, you want to scan that document in and open it up on your computer. If you don't have a scanner, you can take a photograph with your phone. Try to take that photo where there's natural light if you can, so there's not harsh shading. There'll be a difference between this scanned version, which is what you see here, and this is the one that I took on my phone, and believe it or not, it's the exact same document. It's just that the lighting wasn't great. So I'll show you how we can deal with these same images in the same way, even though this document is very dark here. Let's start with this one. I'm using the full version of Photoshop today, but the steps are similar in Photoshop Elements, and I'll show you that as well. So the first thing that I'm going to want to I notice here is that my scanner must have had some marks on it because it's picked up these stray marks here. So I'm just going to get my eraser tool, that's E on the keyboard, and I'm choosing just a hard round brush. This is a 90 pixel brush, and I'm just going to come right here and just erase those things that I don't want. Some of this may actually be on my screen, so it doesn't erase, so we know I have a different problem. Okay, so now that I've erased that, what I want to do is I want to get the deepest, darkest contrast that I can between my text and my white background. There's a lot of different ways to do that, but one of the quickest and easiest ways is to come up to the menu and choose Image, Adjustments, and then I'm going to come down and I want to say Threshold. And what you can see is that some of the words have started, the strokes here have started to disappear. So I'm simply going to use this little lever here, this little slider, and I'm going to adjust this till I get to see more of the words. It's as dark as I can be without disappearing. Watch what happens if I take it all the way over to the right here on this one. It picks up all the noise from that paper, and if I move it all the way over here, it's just getting rid of the black completely. So I want to get this to the point where it's as absolutely dark as I can get it, and that looks pretty good. Let me say okay, and let me show you that it's picked up some other dust down here on my screen, but I don't care because I'm just going to be turning this into a brush. The way I'm going to do that is I am going to get my rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to select the area that I want to turn into a brush. So I'm just clicking and dragging my mouse, haven't let go of my mouse. Now if I haven't positioned this properly, as long as I haven't let go of my mouse, I can hold down my space bar and then move my selection anywhere I want to. Once you let go of your mouse though, you're sort of stuck and you have to start over. So I'm just going to get this as close to here as I can, let go of my space bar here and drag that in. That looks pretty good. I'm going to come up to the menu and say Edit, and I want to say Define Brush Preset. You can give it a name if you want to. I'm not going to do that. You can see here the size. That came in really big, but that's okay for now. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to come back to my layout here. Oh, Control or Command D to deselect is always a good idea before you, in case you forget. Control or Command D to deselect. I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to add a new layer. You can see my tons and tons of layers in this. I'm going to add a new layer at the very top by adding the new layer icon. I'm going to choose black as my foreground color, and then I'm going to stamp this right here in the middle. And as you can see, that's very big, but that's okay. I'm going to do Control or Command T to get the transform handles, and then I'm going to resize this something that's closer to the size that I want it. Now you might notice that this one is quite a bit darker than the image that I have put in here for my brush stroke. And I want to show you a trick for doing that. Works really well when you've scanned in some letters like this that are independent but not as dark as you need it to be. I am going to double click on my layer. I'm going to show you how to do this in Elements too, but double click on the layer here to bring up my effects panel. Then I'm going to come down to stroke, and I'm going to, in the stroke dialog box, I'm going to make sure my color is selected as black, which it is. I'm going to choose outside as the position, and then the size is going to determine how dark this gets. What happens if I get too big? You can see all those little stray pixels and everything, and obviously that's unreadable. So I really just want to bring this down to 2 or 3 pixels. I'm going to bring mine down to 2. If you can't actually select the number that you want, you can just, if you can't slide, it doesn't work very well for you, you can always just select there and type in a number. And there you go. So that's how to do this into Photoshop. Let me show you here on this darker version here. Well, let me show you that one in Photoshop Elements. Now this is Photoshop Elements 2020, but these steps will be the same for other versions as well. So you can see this is much darker because I used my phone and not my scanner, but we still are going to use the same steps. In Elements, we just get to that threshold a little differently. We come up to the filter menu and choose Adjustments and then Threshold. You can see that this actually did a little bit better job here in Elements. You can see a bunch of noise down here, but that's okay because we're not going to be making that part in a brush. And once again, you can see I can take the threshold all the way to the left and it goes white, all the way to the right and it goes black. And we want that happy medium where this is pretty dark, and that looks pretty good to me. This one was about 142 as that number, but that will change for you depending on all sorts of things, on the light and dark on your particular photograph here. I'm going to say okay. Now once again, we are going to select this text and turn it into a brush. So I need my rectangular marquee tool. That's up here on the right. If you don't see the rectangular marquee tool, if yours is the elliptical, you just need to come down here to the options bar and click on rectangle. Then I'm going to click and drag my mouse around what I want to be the brush, and then choose Edit, Define Brush from Selection. Once again, you can give it a name or not. We'll say OK. Control or Command D to deselect. Now let me open up a new document here. Let's just do a scrapbooking size paper here and add a new layer. Make sure my background color is black, and then press B for keyboard to get my brush back, and then stamp it down, and there's my text. So once again, if it is not quite dark enough, we want to add a stroke. You can do that from the Styles tab here, or if you don't have the Styles panel open, come up to Window and choose Styles from down there. Then Strokes, and then choose the stroke that you want. We would start off with this black stroke, so let me double click on it. See, now I've got the little FX there, so my stroke is on. It actually came in good right with the defaults. And then let me open up the effects panel by double clicking on the FX, and you can see it already came in as outside, and it's showing at 3 pixels. That might just be a little dark. I might really want that to be just 2 pixels. That might be better. Say okay. And now I can click and drag this onto my layout. So there you have it. That's how you can personalize your digital scrapbooking or art journaling page by adding your own handwriting. Be sure to leave me a comment or a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked this video. I really love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.